I'm sorry, everyone. I may have messed up. So yeah, I'm making this weapon pre-hard mode, and there's nothing you can do to stop me. Yeah, you can get it pre-hard mode. Proceeds to have Chaos Fish in recipe. The Chaos Fish. Aspect of the end is hard mode. You can't get Chaos Fish is a hard mode crafting material. Do know Chaos Fish is hard mode, right? After my last video blew up, thank you all by the way, I pulled you guys to see what you wanted, and most of you seem to want more Skyblock stuff. Oh, and to fix my mod. You see, I don't fish, so it never occurred to me that the fish I put as a crafting material in my pre-hard mode sword was only obtainable in hard mode. So, don't worry, I fixed it. Jokes aside, I did actually fix it, and now the aspect of the end is finally done. Hyperion next? The Hyperion. I know, epic name, right? When it was released, the Hyperion was easily the most powerful weapon in the game, not only having massive damage, but also allowing the player to teleport, explode, and be extra defended upon right click. Although that's only after you apply these really expensive Wither Scrolls. In Skyblock, the Hyperion is crafted with Wither Skulls and a drop from a boss in a dungeon. And I'm sure as heck not going to code Withers and the entire dungeon system into Terraria. So I just made an upgrade to the aspect of the end. Oh, and I removed Wither Scrolls. Not only would they have been inconvenient to you, they also would have been inconvenient to me to code. So I figured I'd just get rid of them and save us both the trouble. The task at hand was now surprisingly simple. Code an aspect of the end that explodes. Suddenly, I was hit with a flashback. I kept spawning friendly grenades that just sat there. I wasn't actually hit with a flashback, but it was a convenient way to remind you that I had no clue how to do this. However, I decided to give it a shot anyways. After questioning my right to be doing this because I forgot how to make a projectile, I decided to just make a sprite first. In true programmer fashion, I simply ripped a Terraria sprite and recolored it. Whoops, not that one. That looks ugly as heck. This one. And now I'm back to square one, throwing dynamite that doesn't explode. Okay, this project has just become a lot more doable. After swapping it to a rocket so it doesn't explode tiles, and making an NPC projectile so it only hurts enemies, I just had to make it explode instantly. This was going to be difficult, as I had to fundamentally alter the wait time for an explosive. Is what I would say if I hadn't accidentally discovered projectile.timeleft, which conveniently makes it explode instantly. Now throw in some teleportation, courtesy of the AOTE, and we've got ourselves a hype. Also, unlike the AOTE, I made it no cooldown to make it more accurate to Skyblock, but it still consumes a crap ton of mana. However, that can be avoided by simply spamming the quick mana button. Oh, and it's an upgrade to the AOTE that's post-Plantera, because at that point, you're practically teleporting around everywhere already, so why not throw in some explosives? Also, I think it's time to address the elephant in the room. This sprite still sucks. Let's try a different one. Huh, looks too small. Maybe it should be a little bigger. Oh. Whoa, not that big. Anyways, still sucks. Let's try something sleeker. Whoa, now that's a spray. Bam, one item done. Honestly, Mage Archer Hybrid is pretty cool, but you can spam it. Don't worry guys, there's a cooldown. Okay, but like, chugging 10 mana potions to turn a bow into a railgun is funny. Time to make a railgun. Well, actually it's gonna be a repeater because that makes more sense in the context of Terraria, but basically it's a railgun. But first, a sprite. All the repeater sprites look basically the same, so I just grabbed one and recolored it. Now for the actual item. This is gonna be an upgrade to the Endstone bow, which I'll call the Endstone repeater. No, this item isn't really in Skyblock, but as the comments have pointed out, it's a cool idea, and it'd be fun to spam mana potions to deal a crap ton of damage. For this, I decided to remove the whole right-click to activate ability thingy, and just make it a regular feature. I also buffed the stats appropriately, making it shoot super quick, and having that signature Endstone bow velocity. I then removed the cooldown, up the mana to damage conversion rate, make it really an upgrade to the Endstone bow, and bam! We've got a really freaking powerful repeater, obtainable post-mech. Make a summoner weapon, I beg you! Skyblock's summoning mechanic is difficult to say in the least. The way it works is that if you have a summoning item, after you kill a mob, it has a chance to drop its soul, which you can pick up and store in your weapon to summon. This would be way out of my expertise. I have no clue how to access data for any entity other than a player, but even if I did, managing to create a soul for everyone and store that data in a summon would be very difficult. However, I did have another idea, and that was pets. Pets are a core part of Skyblock, being collectible and equipable, and adding unique and interesting buffs to the player. There are so many pets used for so many things, and they are an integral part of the game. At first, I wanted to add pets as summons to fight for you. However, summons are incredibly difficult to make in Terraria. There's only one resource for how to code summons I found online, and it was an outdated example file with hundreds of lines of AI and code for what they called an example simple minion. Actually, funnily enough, while I was editing this video, the YouTuber whose tutorials I get most of my T-Model Loader information from just uploaded a video about minions. So that would have been awesome to have while making this video, but I'm not going to go back and remake it. Maybe another time. Anyways, back to the video. I decided not to do that. It probably wouldn't have been a good idea anyways, as most Hypixel Skyblock pets don't attack, they just add buffs. So I decided to make them Terraria pets as well, which probably should have been my first idea instead of wasting an hour looking at summons. However, this was also a lot harder than it seemed, as my only source was once again the outdated example mod. But since there were fewer lines of code, I figured I could just update it and go along my way. Naturally, this was easier said than done, as I did not know how to update many of the things. After having a breakdown, giving up, and deciding to make a potion instead at 1 AM, I went to bed and woke up the next day with a newfound determination. I was gonna make that pet if it was the last thing I did, which is kind of sad that my motivation on a Sunday was to spend 6 hours straight coding a whale into Terraria, but you know what? I don't have a comeback. Pets are actually a little harder than you expect because you have to make 3 things for one pet. A summon item, a buff, and the actual pet itself, all of which need separate files and sprites. Fortunately, the example mod had examples, albeit outdated ones. Since they were outdated, I updated them and removed the lines that I couldn't figure out how to update, and that resulted in this. Also, they're paper airplanes because that was the example sprite for the pet, and I hadn't made a sprite yet.
Oh. Okay. Cool.
Whoa, that's a lot of paper airplanes. Maybe we should tone down the paper airplanes a little. Okay, well I didn't mean remove them entirely. Can I have them back? Whoops, got distracted by the dungeon guardian. Anyways, I got the pet back and got the buff, item, and pet all on the same page. Now I just need to decide what pets to do. See, up until now, I had planned to do the Jerry pet, an iconic pet that had been subject to hundreds of memes. However, when you really think about it, the Jerry pet doesn't really do anything without the aspect of the Jerry, which doesn't really do anything without Jerry. So that'll have to be another video. Instead, I decided to add the whale pet, which increases health and defense, and the griffin pet, which gives permanent regen and strength, and increases your strength above 85% health. The griffin was easy enough. Just give the player wrath and regen. Also, I added night vision. See, earlier I ran into this problem of being unable to tell if the player had the buff on, because I wanted to remove the pet when they didn't have the buff on. In the other mod, they just did player.examplePet, but that was outdated, and I couldn't figure out the modern counterpart. So I just gave the player night vision, which nobody uses and does practically nothing anyways, and checked for that instead. I know it's sloppy, but this is a more temporary solution until I figure out how to actually detect it. For the whale pet, I wanted to increase the player's health, which isn't done very often in Terraria, so I just did player.statlifemax times equals 6/5. What I failed to consider, however, is that this is applied constantly, so it just kept on increasing the player's max life until, well, I'm basically unkillable. Although I will give credit where credit is due. That's also because of the insanely high defense I got because of the skeleton helmet, an item I made previously, which scales defense with the difference between your max health and current health, which, in this case, is roughly, 15,000. After that, I tried again with a bigger modifier to see what would happen, and it destroyed my character. Somehow, I don't know how, my health turned negative, killing me instantly and ruining that character forever. I decided I would stick to just adding buffs and not mess with the stats, because buffs don't stack. So I just made the whale give permanent life force, and bam, problem solved. So now I just needed some sprites. After shooting a quick message to a friend of mine, who also made the mod icon sprite for this mod, the pets were done and working, craftable right out of hard mode. Additionally, I made a few extra bug fixes on the mod, including fixing the shark chestplate avoiding one-shots, bad syntax, and other stuff. Huge thanks to FoxXD_ for helping me out, and the mod should be fully released soon. I'm still yet to get all of the sprites back from my friend, but once I do, version 1.0 of the Hypixel Skyblock items mod should be released on TModLoader, and soon you can play around with it yourself. Anyways, I hope you all enjoyed watching this video, and I'll see you in the next one.